Hi, this is Thresden, and this is part 19 of an ESO High Isle walkthrough. I think in the previous episode, we never did finish this Corrupted Grove quest. I got so wrapped up in the main story that I just left this quest undone, and it is all the way over there. So I'm not going to go back right now. I'm going to go turn in this quest to Mandrake Manor first. I think that's where we need to go. Don't we need to go to Mandrake Manor? Yeah. So I'm going to do that first, and then once we leave there, she's probably, Lady Arabelle's probably going to send us to Amenos Island. But before we go to Amenos Island, I will head back to that area and finish that quest. There's the destroyed Colossus. What a shame.
Friend, Lady Arabelle is waiting for you upstairs.
Really?
Ravana and I will continue to study the items we found in the ancient Druid circle. Perhaps there's more we can discover about the Ascendant Magus and his plans.
Thank you for aiding Valencia and I in determining the source of the aberrant disturbance in the Grove. If there's anything I can do to further your investigation, please let me know.
Okay, I'll let you know. I eat this bread? Yes, okay.
Another one of my favorite associates, back safe and sound. And were you successful? Did Captain Suzo find anything important at the shoals?
We found the wreckage of Suzo's ship and a survivor. She said Prince Ernscar floated toward Amenos.
Well, that corroborates what the Dockmaster told you. If Prince Ernscar is still alive and made it to Amenos, perhaps the other Alliance leaders did as well. Of course, that doesn't mean they're safe.
I don't know why I'm asking, what do you mean? We've been to Amenos. We know how dangerous it is. But I'm going to ask, what do you mean?
Only a small part of the island is hospitable, and Amenos Station is barely that. The rest of the island is an untamed jungle full of deadly plants, wild creatures, and gangs of prisoners. Not exactly a stroll in the park.
There's no law and order on Amenos?
House Menard controls Amenos, but they restrict their oversight to Amenos Station and the prison stockade. They leave the jungle to the prisoners. Either the royals washed ashore in the jungle, or the Menards are keeping their arrival secret.
So now we go to Amenos?
Soon, my dear. First, prepare yourself while I finish making the needed arrangements. We'll head to Amenos in due time. For now, remember all we have learned thanks to your efforts. Take this as payment. You more than earned every gold piece.
Alright, now this completes Blessings of the High Isle.
I hoped that by investigating the Ascendant Order, we'd uncover a clue as to how to find the missing Alliance leaders. Now we have it on good authority that they may be on Amenos. From the cookpot to the campfire, as my great-aunt Ailes used to say.
The cookpot to the campfire?
It's just a saying, dear. As you're still on retainer, I'd like you to spearhead our rescue efforts. Jakan will go with you to the island, then you'll split up to search for the royals. It's risky, but there's a lot of ground to cover.
How will we get to the island?
Aboard a prison ship. They sail for Amenos regularly from the Dufort docks. We'll be contracting the services of a Captain Basrush. She's a dear friend. Jakan and I will meet you there, after I finish briefing Captain Colleen and the others.
Alright, I'll meet you at the Dufort docks.
While you head to the Dufort docks, I'll discuss our plan with the Alliance captains. We'll need them for this to succeed. Captain Basrush will get you to the island safely. I know for a fact she can't refuse a purse full of gold.
How do Jakarn and I get off the island once we find the Alliance leaders?
Captains Colleen, Suzo, and Zaji have been procuring ships just for that purpose. The waters around Amenos are treacherous, but I have faith in their skills. I wish I could send more agents to help you, but I prefer to keep a low profile.
A low profile? Why's that?
For the same reason you're traveling by prison ship, so as not to alarm House Monard. We still don't know the extent of their involvement, or if they're making their own play against Emmerich and the others. Anything else, dear, or can we get moving?
No, I got lots more questions to ask you. Tell me more about Captain Bossrush and her ship.
Oh, Bazrush is delightful. You'll get along with her smashingly. We met when she was a smuggler operating along the Sentinel coast. Now she runs under a charter from House Monard, ferrying prisoners and supplies to Amenos Station.
Has Amenos always been a prison?
Goodness, no. It served as a haven for pirates and smugglers once, before the Empire decided it was a perfect place to dump its undesirables. Political prisoners, prisoners of war, rival nobles. Emmerich continues the practice to the current day.
What else should I know about Amenos?
The entire archipelago sits atop the bones of an ancient volcano. Sheer cliffs, jagged reefs, and dangerous currents make Amenos a perfect site for a prison. The only safe landing on the isle is the dock at Amenos Station.
So Amenos Station is a town?
I suppose you can call it that. It serves the nearby prison stockade, though the worst offenders are banished to the jungle. The Empire used to send prisoners to Amenos, and it still is a dumping ground for people the authorities want to disappear.
The prisoners have free run of the jungle?
They do something to the prisoners. They call it processing. Once that occurs, they can only survive in the Amenos jungle. They go anywhere else, they die. At least that's what they tell them. So yes, the jungle belongs to the prison gangs.
Tell me more about processing.
It's a closely guarded secret, I'm afraid. When prisoners are selected for banishment, they undergo some sort of magical or alchemical treatment. After that, they can only survive in the jungle. Is it true? Does it matter? The prisoners believe it.
Interesting. So maybe it's not true. This is the first we've heard of this. Maybe they just make them believe that they'll die if they leave the island? And how does House Monard fit into this?
House Monard runs the prison stockade for the Daggerfall Crown. They profit off the prisoner exchanges, the mines in the jungle, other prisoner labor. And they maintain Amenos Station, the only true civilization on the entire island.
Remind me what we're doing here again.
Sometimes I lose track of days myself, dear. Lord Bacaro hired me to provide security for the upcoming peace talks. I oversaw the arrangements to get the Alliance leaders to High Isle safely. Unfortunately, the Ascendant Order uncovered those plans.
Right, and the Ascendant Mages summoned a storm to sink their ships before they reached High Isle.
Precisely. These bandit knights tried to kill High King Emmerich, Queen Irene, and Prince Ernskar, but the Magus lost control of his spell. Thanks to you, we now believe the leaders are on the island of Amenos. We're going to rescue them, my dear.
Wait, what? The prison island? Shouldn't I get a say in this?
No, you should not, Jakar.
Oh, I know you can't stand to be left out of the action. Think of the stories you can tell of your daring escape.
Well, that's true. I guess I'm easy to read.
Like a book, dear. While you head to the Fort Docks, I'll discuss our plan with the Alliance captains. We'll need...
Okay, so nothing new there. Systres History, Volume 7. By Trillim Haladrin, Associate Dean of Eltharic History, University of Gwilym. After the fall of Potentate Versidus Shai in 2E 324, and his successor Savrian Chorek in 2E 430, all of Tamriel collapsed into disarray. Pretender kings and savage conquerors sprang up like daisies in springtime, precipitating a painful realignment of continental rulership. As vassals of the Gardner dynasty, the Dukes of House Monard nominally owed their allegiance to the Kingdom of Wayrest. However, communication between the Sisters Archipelago and the mainland remained unreliable in the early years of the interregnum. Diplomatic missions were routinely waylaid by Red Guard freebooters and Sea Elf marauders. When messages did arrive, House Monard often ignored them, claiming they were lost at sea or intercepted by elven spies. This inconsistent diplomacy allowed House Monard to establish total hegemony over the islands, with one notable exception, the properties of House Dufort. The barons of House Dufort owned small but valuable tracts of land across High Isle, and they used these parcels to confound the Mornards' plans whenever possible. The Duforts never passed up an opportunity to stick their thumb in House Mornard's eye, especially when the maneuver could increase their stock in King Gardner's court. This ceaseless needling led to a centuries-long dance of intrigues, assassinations, kidnappings, and at least one naval skirmish that claimed the life of a Dufort heir apparent. Finally, in 2E478, Duke Ruffing Mornard seized a full third of House Dufort's lands and exiled its leadership to Amenos, claiming sedition against the crown with a raft of forged documents and forced testimony. The Gardners viewed the coup with suspicion, but had their own troubles with an ascendant Camlorn and left the matter unresolved. House Mornard maintained its stranglehold on the archipelago until 2E563. The Connaughton flu swept through the province with alarming speed, slaying commoner and noble alike. As a shipping port, the Systres Archipelago suffered terribly, stricken by wave after wave of steadily escalating strains of the disease. In 2E565, Duke Avrippe Mornard sealed the island off entirely, barring anyone from leaving or entering the archipelago. As a land dependent on trade, the Sisters fell into total destitution. Wayrest, now under the rule of King Emmerich, looked upon Avrippe with disfavor when the plague receded, and he had ensured his own safety and fortune at the expense of his people. The resurgent House Dufort watched and waited. Shaken by Emmerich's reproach, Avrippe Mornard looked to other noble houses to secure his position. When King Rancer of Shornhelm declared war on Wayrest in 2E566, Avrippe threw in with Emmerich's enemies, forsaking his ties of vassalage. Emmerich leveraged his diplomatic bonds with an array of unlikely allies, and crushed Rancer utterly at the Battle of Markwaston Moor. Once matters were settled on the mainland, Emmerich turned his eyes to the Sisters. The High King meted out his justice swiftly. Emmerich stripped Duke Avrippe of his title and exiled him to Cyrodiil, where he died a year later. Additionally, he seized a full two-thirds of the house's holdings and granted them to the Mornards' eternal foe, House Dufort. What remained of Mornard's land and fortune passed to Agrippe's son, Leonard, and as a final insult, Wayrest installed House Dufort as rulers of the Sisters. Today, the islands prosper under the rule of Duchess Ilea Dufort. As in days of old, the Sisters Archipelago serves as a port where all are welcome and where Tamriel can reach its full potential. It is a place of learning, deep tradition, maritime adventure, and enduring bonds of fellowship, a shining jewel in the Eltherin, where the fate of Tamriel's future may well be forged. Is there going to be another one? Ecology of the Ornog? What is the Ornog? It's along the western Abatian Sea. Okay, I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm not going to read that one. I'm trying to read more of these lore books as I go through this, because some of them have important parts to the story. This is Systres History Volume 7, which we just read, right? Yeah. And there's another one right here, Investigator Vale, Foul Play. The ducks, Count Tamsin, Investigator Vale proclaimed as she rolled away from the burly noble. Tamsin, confused and disappointed that the lithe and curvaceous private investigator was no longer on top of him, struggled onto his elbows and exclaimed, "Ducks, my sexy sleuth, this isn't really the time." Vale leaped from the bed, wrapping the silk sheet around her, and leaving the Count alone and exposed. "Oh, this is the perfect time. I finally figured out what's been going on in your estate." "The mysterious deaths?" Tamsin stammered, covering himself ineffectively with a pillow. He wasn't sure whether to get up and join her or stay in the bed. "I know I hired you to solve my problem, but I was hoping to bring another situation to a conclusion first, my dear. The craving is no longer upon me, Count Tamsin. I have other fowl to pluck, as it were." "What are you talking about, Vale?" The Count, now as angry as he was embarrassed, was having a problem keeping his voice down. "Speak plainly!" "Plainly? I never speak anything but. It was an ingenious plan, but as always, Investigator Vale has figured it out." "Vale, my patience, like your craving, is wearing thin." Vale smiled and sat by the window, letting the breeze flow through her long raven hair. "Your game warden, Gelatar Nare. Every one of the deaths I investigated occurred shortly after the victims finished a meal of roast duck. duck provided generously by Narek. He poisoned your vassals. That bastard, Count Tamsin exclaimed. I'll chop him up and feed him to his own ducks. Damn the man. Suddenly, Vale was pressed against the Count. Nothing but the thin silk sheet between them. I love the way you think, Count, she purred. I do believe the craving has returned. What about my game warden? Justice can wait, Tamsin, Vale whispered. But I do believe we were in the middle of something when the solution so rudely interrupted us. I'm quite famished, but I'm in the mood for something a bit more substantial than duck. Oh, Investigator Vale, the Count said, as he and the sleuth fell back into the bed. Alright, funny story.
We're going to Amenos, are we? Stendar keep us safe.
Was that Isabel who said that? Wow. Didn't expect her to say that. Who are these people? Oh.
Thank you for finding me out in the shoals. Don't worry. Once I get some mead in my belly, I'll be right as rain. I only hope some of my other crewmates made it to shore.
Well, she's definitely a Nord. She's saying, after everything that happened to her, she just wants some mead.
Don't worry. She'll be fine after some rest.
Make sure she rests before she gets the mead in her. Oh, here goes another one. You know what? I think I'm not going to read this one. This is Shadow Fellows. It's just another Investigator Vale story. Doesn't really matter as far as the lore. Here, if you want to pause it, this is pages 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5. You can read it yourself if you want to read it. Alright, like I said, I'm not going to go to Amenos quite yet. First, I'm going to finish this quest that we didn't finish earlier.
Doesn't make sense. This Ascended Order is tearing the island apart, looking for something they think washed ashore.
Oh, really?
Well, I hope they find it and go back to the mainland. I've had enough of rogue knights and gawkers from Tamriel.
I heard they found the broken pieces of Kamal's Bane on Shipwreck Shoals. Oh, a damn fine ship she was. Good enough to carry that Nordling prince, whatever his name.
Sounds like they found that ship of that Nord Prince Burnscar. That'll make Perdite happy, I guess. She likes to daydream about princes. But where's the High King, Limerick? And what of that elf queen, Hayron?
Oh my god, he's getting all their names wrong.
Sometimes a little lie saves the time.
Alright, where is the quest? Okay, looks like it's gonna make me go over here. It's not gonna show me where the quest marker is until I get out of the city. Alright, it's nearby. Here. Did I seriously never get that Wayshrine? So not only did I not finish the quest, I also didn't get the Wayshrine when I was here.
That could be helpful.
There's the burning corpse again.
The corruption spreads quickly. Burn the corpse while I cast a cleansing spell.
Okay, so that's why the thing was burning or whatever. Part of this quest.
Let's find a few concentrated areas of corruption. My spells will cleanse the impurities, then you burn them.
Alright, we've already heard that. There's obviously some corruption over there.
The corruption spreads throughout the grove. First the plants, then the animals, and now even some druids have been afflicted.
These evil druids, corrupted druids, okay.
Corrupted shrub. Burn it with cleansing fire after I cast.
We are the spirit of the grove. We are the Evergrowth, and this druid seeks to help, while another has unbalanced the true way. Aid us, mortal, before the nature that sustains this grove collapses.
Whoa.
How disconcerting. The Evergrowth hasn't spoken in generations. Pardon that display. I've never been forcibly taken over by a spirit of nature before. I wasn't sure if the corruption was connected to the Evergrowth, but now we know. And we know a druid is somehow involved. That troubles me.
Sure. What's the Evergrowth?
As I understand it, this grove was deemed sacred by the early druids, but it was also out of balance. They shaped Ifra's laws into a spirit and gave that spirit dominion over the grove. It recognized that I was trying to help it, and reached out.
It also said another druid had unbalanced the true way.
Yes. But is that druid acting out of malice or ignorance? Either way, if the Evergrowth succumbs, then the corruption will increase and spread out of control. We must take this news to the Circle Elders. Meet me in our village.
Okay, I'll meet you in the Stonelore Grove village.
Our village lies at the center of the grove. Once we get there, I will tell the Archdruid and the other elders what we learned.
Tell me about the Archdruid and the Circle Elders.
Not much to tell. Archdruid Agathie oversees our community here. A number of the village elders serve as her advisors and help train the younger aspirants and initiates in the true way. I'll introduce you to them once we get to the village.
Okay. Looks like another quest here.
Prowess was befitting a knight. Well done. Looking forward to seeing what you make with that.
What is this? I see a quest marker. It says below. Bravo Lorn below.
Nearby volcanic activity.
The delicacies of High Isle. Roasted sparkling angermouth on a bed of kelp. A Vitian halibut soup. Smoked albatross egg with caviar. Sea salt tea. Honey cakes with clotted cream and pearled white chocolate. Okay, I wonder if we'll find those recipes somewhere as we move through this. Oh, is this another Tales of Tribute quest?
I was about to head out, but I suppose I've got time for one more humiliating defeat.
I'm going to make a separate series for Tales of Tribute because it was taking up too much time, so I'm going to make it a separate series.
Not yet, pup. Put in the work, get your rank up, then we can talk.
Ooh, okay.
Hatchlings must learn to walk before they can swim. Grow your rank, then return.
You two?
Come to Sabis Bien when you want goods. I swear on the honor of my family name that my offerings are extraordinarily good. The best in Stonelore Grove, even.
Okay. Wow, this place is cool looking.
Have you come to honor the sacred vents, stranger? These manifestations of the island's fiery heart reveal the majesty and power of the natural order. The sight always leaves me without words.
I may be a dark elf, but that doesn't mean I can't seek a connection with the natural world. I have worked very hard to earn my place in the Stonelore Circle. The true way doesn't care where you come from, only that you adhere to its teachings.
Yeah, I thought the Druids, you could be any race and be a Druid. Why is she even making that into an issue?
Archdruid, elders, this outsider helped me. And the Evergrowth, it spoke through me.
The spirit of the Grove? It hasn't manifested like that in many generations. Are you sure?
Druid Audrine has never given us reason to doubt her observations. Tell us, child, what did the spirits say?
It warned us that nature was out of balance. That a druid was responsible for this trouble.
Out of balance? That explains the corruption. But to blame a druid, I cannot accept that without proof.
Then we will find that proof. Friend, meet me at the Circle's ritual site.
Okay.
Young Audrine makes a bold proclamation. While I believe the spirit of this grove spoke through her, I find it hard to imagine that one of our druids could be responsible for unbalancing nature. That goes against everything we believe.
Well, I've had some experience with the Fire Song Druids, and let me tell you, they are definitely into unbalancing nature, so I believe her. What does an Archdruid do exactly?
Mostly what you would expect. I oversee the druids that care for this grove, and help train the novices in the true way. Elders Karek and Warrain advise me on matters related to my work.
Why don't you believe Druid Audrine?
I have the utmost faith in young Audrine. What I do not trust is the word of a capricious nature spirit. Go with Audrine. Get us proof that a druid is responsible for the corruption. Then we will take every action necessary to solve the problem.
All right.
I've tended this grove for nearly 50 years, and the Evergrowth has never spoken to me. Well, not directly, at any rate.
Well, maybe, you're just not worthy.
Nature's spirits can be capricious, dangerous. The Evergrowth is no exception. Tread carefully, stranger. And don't allow young Audrine to toss around accusations she can't confirm.
Tell me more about the Evergrowth.
When the first Druids of Stonelore discovered this sacred grove, the place had no spirit to nurture and protect it. So they prayed to Ifre, and shaped his will to call forth the Evergrowth. They bound it to the grove to preserve its balance.
Bound it? The spirit of the grove is a prisoner?
If you look at it from a certain perspective, I suppose so. It was required until the spirit bonded with the land. And once that occurred, there was no reason to eliminate the bindings. But if the Evergrowth suffers, so does the grove.
Okay, so it could be lying, I guess.
Meet me at the ritual circle on top of the rise that overlooks the village. We can talk there.
All right, I'm going. Where is the Wayshrine? Right here. All right, great. Where am I supposed to meet you? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I keep getting confused because of that quest marker, but it's just a Tales of Tribute quest.
Over here, my friend. The Circle Elders cannot accept that one of our own may be responsible for this disaster. And I could hear the doubt in their voices concerning the Evergrowth. We need to prove that one of our circle has caused this unbalance.
How do you want to proceed?
Help me investigate. Search the village for any signs that a druid is involved in the corruption. Look in the huts. Ask my fellow druids. Someone or something here will lead us to the source of the corruption. It has to.
What about the Evergrowth?
We'll wait and see if it communicates with us again. If not, I have an idea. But let us try to find the druid responsible for this situation first. I want to determine if this was an accident or a deliberate and reckless act.
Okay. How can I get down there without dying? Maybe this way? Alright, that worked. I need buff food.
For some help gathering herbs. My back aches.
Ah, I see that Druid Audrine has brought us a visitor. What can I do for you today, traveler?
Do you know anything about the corruption spreading through the grove?
As a matter of fact, I noticed animals in the grove suffering from an affliction. I mentioned it to Archdruid Agathie, and she said she would look into it.
Thanks for the information. She was very friendly.
When I spoke to the Archdruid, it seemed like that was the first she heard of the corruption in the grove.
Uh-oh.
Hopefully we can find evidence that leads to the source of the corruption. Archdruid Agathie will never turn against one of our circle without absolute proof of recklessness or wrongdoing. Come, let us look around the village.
Yeah, it's looking like maybe, the Archdruid is involved. Maybe she's the one that's causing the corruption. Nope, not gonna steal the fish.
Good gathering, stranger. I do not recognize you, but I know Druid Audrine very well. What may I do for you this day?
Do you know anything about the corruption spreading through the grove?
Nothing specific, I'm afraid. Just that the corrupted animals have made foraging in the grove dangerous. Oh, this might interest you. I felt a disturbance emanate from the wards in the Undergrove recently. Like a surge of power went through them.
What's the Undergrove? And what was that about wards?
The island's volcanic vents create all sorts of underground spaces. The large cavern beneath us is the Undergrove. No one's allowed down there, not without the Archdruid's permission. The wards have something to do with the spirit of the grove.
The spirit of the grove? You mean the Evergrowth?
Yes, the Evergrowth. I'm surprised you know that ancient designation. I believe the wards reinforce the spirit's connection to the grove, but I'm not an expert on that. I can sense them, though. I have an affinity for such things.
Thanks for the information.
The Undergrove? No one but the Archdruid ever goes down there.
Yep. She's not wanting to accept the truth. It's pretty obvious what's going on here.
Did you meet the new commander?
Isn't the grove in this village beautiful? I'm glad my duties in the Oaken Order have brought me here to learn. When I become a full-fledged knight, I plan to return here often to commune with the spirit of the grove.
That sounds good. Hopefully we can get all this other stuff straightened out. Systres History Volume 5. By Trillim Heladrin, Associate Dean of Eltheric History, University of Gwillem. House Gwimard administrated the Sisters Archipelago for a century and a half before falling into disfavor because of a jilted marriage proposal. Subsequently, the ambitious House Mantell took ownership of the islands, but only briefly. In 1E 2484, the long-dormant Mount Firesong erupted for the second time in recorded history. The catastrophic explosion shattered the ancient shipyards of High Isle, completely destroyed a burgeoning settlement on Amenos, cracked the All Flags Monument, and claimed the lives of nearly one-third of the archipelago's inhabitants. Witnesses reported seeing smoke and smelling brimstone as far away as Lilandril in the months that followed, and the vibrations apparently rattled chimes at Agathie. Agathie, I don't know how to pronounce that. The survivors, most of whom were fisherfolk, whalers, and other maritime tradespeople, petitioned the mainland for aid, but received little in the way of material support. Nearly all of the sisters' nobles were slain by the mountain's wrath, severing all meaningful connections between the people of the archipelago and High Rock's ruling class. The iniquities of Breton feudalism were put on full display in the years that followed, with mass starvation and waterborne illness killing thousands more Bretons on High Isle. Only the intervention of the Druids prevented a total collapse of Cistraean society. Members of the Stonelore Circle used their knowledge of the islands to provide nourishing root vegetables, mushrooms, curative salves, and fresh water to the desperate survivors. This prompted a short but significant renaissance of Druidic faith known as the Green Years. While the Druids did not realize a complete resurgence of their power over the islands, they earned a place of respect and bolstered their ranks considerably. Many of the Druidic terms still spoken on the islands today derive from this period of rebirth and support. The Bretons' gains over the following centuries were modest, but marked by great joy. No longer saddled by an intrusive noble class, the Cistraeans and their Druidic allies formed a pastoral community of sailors, farmers, and herders. Huge logging camps and sprawling agricultural operations gave way to small subsistence farms, idyllic grasslands, and burgeoning Druid enclaves. Broken monuments and shattered villas remained broken and shattered, while vines, moss, and fungi grew over a history that few Cistraeans cared to remember. That was Volume 5. We read Volume 7 earlier, but that was the 5th volume.
I'm just an aspirant, and I haven't been part of the Stonelore Circle very long. All these rumors of corruption in the Grove have me quite concerned.
Evergrowth Restoration Ritual. We call upon Ifrit to strengthen the bond between the Evergrowth and our sacred grove. We call upon the god of song and forest to remove the bindings that tie our spirit to this hallowed land. We offer this sacrifice, O Ifrit, so that all may walk the true way.
A ritual? That's proof that a druid caused this problem. Look, there's a mistake in the second line. They wrote remove instead of restore.
Sacred Witness, Part 1. That's from the Dark Brotherhood, I think. You talked about the Night Mother. Okay. Yeah, that's not related to this. Okay, so maybe it was a mistake? You wouldn't think the Archdruid would make a mistake of that magnitude.
Watch yourself, stranger. I'm keeping my eye on you.
Okay. I'm leaving. Corrupted Fetish. A druidic ritual fetish imbued with the same corruption that afflicts the rest of Stonelore Grove.
That ritual fetish, it reeks of the same corruption spreading through the grove. I wonder who it belongs to.
Probably the Archdruid?
I think we have everything we need to convince the Archdruid.
Nope.
Let's review what we discovered.
What do you make of the corrupted fetish we found?
Definitely a druidic ritual fetish. I use such accoutrement when conducting my own rituals. But this one bears the taint that afflicts the grove. This fetish must have been used in the ritual that released the corruption.
What about the restoration ritual we found?
Whoever scrawled this did so in haste. They made an obvious mistake in the middle verse. It should say restore, but the author wrote down remove. That alone would have disastrous effects when the ritual was performed.
Okay, this is, I'm not sure what to think of this. I mean, there's a corrupted fetish. That implies that whoever did this did it deliberately. But then she seems to think that it was an accident. And the two druids we spoke to, what do you think about the information they provided?
Someone or something disturbed the wards in the Undergrove, probably when the ritual was performed. And it appears the Archdruid knew about the corruption before I mentioned it, but she acted like she knew nothing.
Why does my bear keep roaring all the time? He's acting crazy. What's the purpose of these wards?
I don't know all the details, but from what I've been taught, the Evergrowth resides in the Undergrove. The wards connect it to the grove, but also bind it. We need to talk to the Archdruid. She's usually in the Northern Grove this time of day. I'll meet you in the northern part of the grove.
What is this?
Stand Darcy you safely to your rest.
There's another quest marker down here. Ferone's instructions. Glad you're interested, Ferone. If you recover the map fragment from Stonelore Grove, I'll pay you honest gold for the effort. The Druids shouldn't cause you any trouble, but it's wild out there, so watch where you step. Bring the fragment to me at the Dufort Docks, Captain Ishmael. Alright, we got another piece. Ferone's torn map fragment.
The Archdruid? What? Oh no, she's spreading the corruption.
Yep.
The All-Wither. It's inside me, forcing me to do as it bids.
Where did she go?
Speak with me, mortal. The spirit of the grove has need of you.
Get my allies out of the way here.
We are the Evergrowth. The one you sought. She carries the taint of our corruption. We remember her from the Undergrove. She performs a ritual that released this blight upon the land.
This is all the Archdruid's fault?
The Archdruid sought to renew our bindings, but the ancient spells have already frayed. The part of us that is the All-Wither tricked her. She spoke the wrong word. Now, the All-Wither is free to spread its corruption, and the entire grove is in danger.
Okay, so it was an accident, but then the thing took her over and made her start doing all this evil stuff. The Archdruid also mentioned the All-Wither. What is that?
The All-Wither is a part of us, a spirit of nature, called forth and made manifest by the ancient Druids. At this sacred grove, the laws of nature are malleable. To strengthen those laws, the Druids bound us here. But nature consists of circles.
Circles?
At one end, life. At the other, death. We are both life-nurturing growth and all-withering decay. That part of us is now free. And once the corruption fully takes hold, the Evergrowth will be gone. Only the All-Wither will remain. Will you help us?
Yes, I will help you. What do you need me to do?
Tell the Druids what we have said. They summoned and bound us in the past. They must be able to do so again. But urge them to hurry. The corruption consumes us. Soon, we shall not be able to stave off the All-Weather.
I'll tell the Druids.
No matter how many times that happens, I am not sure I will ever get used to that. Return to the village, and tell the elders what the Evergrowth said. I'll join you momentarily.
Not going to Captain Ishmael. I am going... Let's set this to the correct... Set it to the correct quest. What's this? Varvalorn below. I think that's the quest oh no, that's the Tales of Oblivion quest. I keep getting confused.
Oh, nice. What did you find?
Found some Dwarven ore. Not much use at this level. I need to level up my crafting skills, put some skill points into
Elder
it.
Karek, we have troubling news concerning the Archdruid.
Slow down, Audrine. Tell us what happened.
The Evergrowth confirmed she performed the binding ritual, but she made a mistake. She released the All-Wither.
The Archdruid is responsible for the corruption? And she released the All-Wither? Oh, the Grove is doomed!
The Evergrowth is here and willing to help, in exchange for certain considerations. The Archdruid has returned to the Undergrove. Even now, the All-Wither compels her to speed up the spread of corruption so it can consume us. In our weakened state, we cannot stop the All-Wither from becoming the prominent spirit of the Grove.
You said you could help us stop this.
We can, but only if you and this Druid break the remaining wards that bind us to this place. That will allow us to recover enough of our power to restore the balance and return the All-Wither to its proper location in the circle.
Before, you asked us to get the Druids to restore your bindings. Now you want us to break them?
The All-Wither moves quickly. Already we can feel ourselves weakening, losing cohesion. The remaining shreds of our bindings have been corrupted and add to our pain. If you set us free, we can pull energy from the uncorrupted grove and aid you.
Without the wards to bind you here, won't you just abandon the grove?
We are the spirit of the grove. We maintain the balance and keep the true way. We know our duty and our responsibility. Trust us. Together, we can end the corruption and return the grove to its natural state. But decide quickly. We do not have long.
Elders, allow us to enter the Undergrove and do as the Evergrowth asks. We can't let the All-Wither become the dominant spirit.
For all we know, this is exactly what the All-Wither wants us to do. But, yes, go. We'll do what we can up here to slow the spread of the corruption.
Yeah, I'm really concerned that the All-Wither has already taken it over and is now trying to trick us into releasing the bindings.
The spirit wants us to enter the Undergrove and release its bindings. It claims that will allow it to overcome the All-Wither. I sensed no duplicity while we were connected. I believe the Evergrowth spoke true of its intentions.
How do we get into the Undergrove?
The entrance I am aware of is in the northern part of the grove. I will meet you there. I have never been in the Undergrove, my friend. I have no idea what we might encounter down there. So be on your guard and ready for anything.
What do we do once we enter the Undergrove?
We find the corrupted wards. I cleanse them and you break them, much as we did in the grove. After we deal with the initial wards, the Undergrove's central chamber should open, allowing us to destroy the last binding ward and set the spirit free.
Unbinding the bound nature spirit? If this doesn't work, we could be facing an all-consuming corruption or total breakdown of the laws of nature.
Yeah.
Preserve us. Well, go be a hero. You and Audrine both. We'll help as we can from up here.
All right.
I'm trusting a capricious nature spirit. Wonderful. Well, talk to Audrine and get moving. Warrain and I will try to buy you some time by cleansing as much of the corruption as we can.
All right, I'm going. I'm very concerned we're making the wrong decision here, but I don't know what else we can do. I mean, we can't. There's no choice at this point in the story.
Another find for your pack.
So this is the Undergrove. Alright, that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we'll go into the Undergrove, and we'll try to defeat the evil spirit that has taken over the spirit of the Grove. Thanks for watching. See you next time.